Hello, 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 Detroit and all surrounding areas that are tapping in. I am Jazz Evolves, as you see right down there at the bottom, and welcome to the Truth Room. This is officially season 2, episode 1, and I'm your new host. I want to first of all thank you so much to our executive producer, Lucretia Rogers, for allowing me to become a part of the Truth Room family and to be able to carry out her vision. So thank you so very much. So before we get into too much about me, I want to make sure that you guys have all of the Truth Room handles so that you are able to follow us across all platforms. So we're going to start with the Instagram. The Instagram is at the truth at no, I'm sorry, at the underscore truth room. All right. There's no funny spellings, none of that kind of crazy stuff. So it's at the underscore truth room. That's Instagram. On Facebook, it is just as simple as the Truth Room Podcast. So go ahead, look it up. All of these things, I want y'all to pull out your phone right now and just follow. Take a couple of seconds. And then also, you'll be able to find this live stream not only on the Facebook page, but also on YouTube. So take some time to go to YouTube. If you're a YouTuber person, go to Brave Ambition Radio Network. And that's where you'll be able to find all of the amazing podcasts that she has in store for us. So it's not just the Truth Room that she has that's airing and streaming. There's things for the men, there's things for the ladies, there's things for whoever. So you just choose which one your favorite is or listen to them all. And then the last thing, if you are interested in coming onto the Truth Room and being a guest or you have show ideas, we are all about feedback. We are all about the truth. So go ahead and you can email us at ttpodcastdetroit at gmail.com. All right. So that's TTR. So that's TTR, the Truth Room Podcast Detroit at gmail.com. So I'm gonna give y'all a couple of seconds so that you guys can get all of that. Play it back. We love for replays to happen. So if you need that again, I need for y'all to go ahead and play this back so that you'll be able to get it. All right. So of course, the Truth Room, we are here to tell the truth. So you're gonna hear a lot of topics. They're gonna be coming from all which kinds of ways, and it's really just about us having healthy adult dialogue, and it's also going to be some varying perspectives. So I'm really looking forward to future episodes and future guests because it's all about varying perspectives. Now I'm Jasmine, and I know a whole bunch, a whole lot, but I don't know everything, right? So I'm really looking forward for you guys to be able to hear the voices of other people that are going to be coming on and spending some time with me on Sundays at 6. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know my contact information. All right. Um, at Jazz Evolves is going to be my Instagram handle. All right. And my Facebook is just Jazz Space Evolves. And I'm going to get a little bit into that a little bit later to let y'all know where that came from. I know you're probably like, what in the world? Black people are always trying to find something, some kind of special way to stick out and to stand out, but there is a purpose behind it. I promise, I promise, I promise. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about when to walk away. There is so many different things and so many different reasons. A lot of times in life, we are looking to, you know, make decisions and we're trying to figure out why. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit about me. I am a Florida native. I am not from Detroit, but Detroit has become my home. As of December 31st, I have been here officially 2 years. I am a D girl by way of transition, but a Florida girl in my heart. You got to know it. So I say what up though, and I say woo chai. So I'm a mixture of both worlds, both the north and the south. So sometimes y'all gonna hear that southern swing come out, and sometimes y'all gonna hear me talk real proper, but it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? So we just here to keep it real and tell the truth. All right. So my day job is going to really point a lot towards my personality, and I am an esthetician full time. And so, what does that mean for those? What do you do, Jasmine? I rip hair. I rip hair for people, and I fix people's skin. That's like the most simple, straight to the point thing. I clean it up from the rooter to the tutor. I take it from under your arms. I take it off your face. I take it off your back. I take it off your legs. I take it off wherever you want me to take it off. And I do facials too. So if you by any chance know anybody or are interested in any of those services, then Evolve You Aesthetics is definitely the place that you want to stop by and visit because I'm all about it. Um, I am really just grateful to be able to be here with y'all. I'm really looking forward to hearing all of what you all have to say because I have a lot to say, but I'm really looking forward to hear like y'all thoughts on the topic at hand tonight and some of the life experiences that you all have gone through. So feel free when we get to that part of the show to chime on in and say whatever it is that you need to say. Because I promise we don't stay quiet here in the truth room. We have a lot to say, and the only way that you can move forward in life is to tell the truth, right? It's gonna hurt some people feel sometimes, but at the end of the day, what's done is done. What has to be done. Right? So let's see here. If you here and you're live, I want y'all to drop and tell me where y'all checking in from. Let's give you a second. Give y'all a couple of minutes and let it chime on in. Tell us where you from. Drop your city, drop your state, rep your hood. All right, all right. Florida Michigan Connect. That's what it's all about. The Truth Room is not, it's one thing I'm gonna tell y'all right now. The Truth Room is definitely about to go beyond Detroit. It really is, all because of the fact that I spent a very long time in Florida. A very long time in Florida. I'm not gonna give my age away. Just know I was there for a long time before I came here. I only been here for 2 years. So eventually my age might be revealed in the future, but it ain't none of y'all business right now. Ain't none of y'all business. We ain't even that close yet. We ain't even that close yet. Oh, and if you're here, feel free to push the share button, share it to your friends, share it to your friends' inbox, share it to your story, share it to your Facebook friend, share it. You used to live in Jacksonville? Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. I don't know what it is about Florida and Jacksonville and Michigan, but it's definitely a connect that happens between TPA and DTW and MIA and DTW because it's when I was in Florida, it was a lot of people down there from Michigan. And now that I'm in Michigan, everybody is first of all trying to figure out why I'm not in Florida anymore. That's first of all. Second of all, everybody trying to figure out, well, dang, like if you come in here, like what brought you here? How you got here? We're gonna get into that a little bit later because this is the truth room. I'll let y'all know how I got here. Um, let's see here. Okay, CPAD. So you gotta let us know what CPAD is. CPAD. I gotta assume that that's a hood. So I need you to just go ahead and shout it all the way out. So, and if you're looking for me and being able to find out when I can take that hair off your body, do a facial, whatever, I am available Wednesday through Saturday. My hours are from 10 to 7. I am located on the east side. So if you are in Detroit, you know what that means. I am an east sider. until I'm not an East Sider no more. I ain't gonna say till I die, because I might have to stand on that one day. But I'm definitely an East Sider. I am located in St. Clair Shores, so right off of 94 is where I am, and I have a private suite, private, clean, intimate, and I am an artist, and I am sensitive about my ish, and but I'm also a perfectionist. So just know that you are definitely in good hands. If you so choose to come. So maybe I don't know. In the future, we can have a truth room talking about what actually happens in the rooms of estheticians. I have to be careful because even though I don't have to hit a HIPAA, I don't want to put all my clients' business out there. I definitely grateful to be able to have the clients that I have because I have heard all kinds of stories from estheticians, especially in the Brazilian in the waxing world. Uh, and I just thank God, and I'm gonna knock on some wood right here, right now, that I don't ever have to deal with any of the thing that some of my colleagues and counterparts have to deal with out there in the world because it's a strange, strange place when you're going down between somebody's legs. All kinds of stuff happens down there. So, um, yeah. So we have Florida in the house. We have Michigan in the house. Let's see what else we have. Right, Rich. Look, you gotta make sure St. Pete is definitely beautiful. And it's so funny about how when you go away from a place and change starts to happen, and you go back and you're like, dang, I'm about to pull up, and you pull up, and what was there when you left ain't there no more. I've had that happen a couple of times. St. Petersburg is definitely a hidden gem. I have to have this argument very often with my partner about don't nobody know what St. Pete at, but I feel like that's so disrespectful. A lot of black people don't know where St. Pete is, but in the reality, St. Pete is an international gem that like people travel all over the world to come and see. And I'm telling you, like it's something about that area of Florida because people are coming and moving from all over everywhere to get there. And it's people from New York, it's people from Michigan, it's all kind of high rises being built up. So it's definitely a place to go. So if you haven't been, I'm telling you, born and raised St. Petersburg, that is where I'm from. And so I love to see that I have people in here from St. Pete that's visiting with us today because that is home. Home is always where the heart is. And I'll actually be home next week and I'm looking forward to it. I will not be in St. Pete. So clients, do not try to reach out to me talking about y'all want services. It's not happening. I'm gonna be about 2 hours away from y'all. All right. My Florida people, have any of y'all come up north? Been in Detroit, come to the cold? Was in December. All right. And is that a hard transition for y'all when y'all coming up here from the south? I know what it was for me. So when you coming from the south and you coming from 70 and 80 degrees weather, I'm just trying to figure out, is that a hard transition when you stepping off the plane and you realize that you're not in Kansas anymore? Allergic. All right. We got Benadryl. It comes in the shape of scarves and gloves and all of that there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get to business. Let's get what we came here for because Y'all gonna say, Jasmine, I know for 100% a fact that um you should have probably been a preacher in the former life, but we're not gonna take it there because I really want to hear what your opinion is about this subject. So, um, the thing that we're going with tonight is just being able to be better, right? And what does that look like? And I think a lot of times we automatically connect doing better, being better, leaving, walking away from situations for relationships only, right? But tonight, I want to go into being able to know when to walk away, all because of the fact that I feel like a lot of times we get stuck. Like we get stuck in life. And so you probably trying to figure out why does this girl have a brick wall behind her? And I just figured it was like it was fitting for the topic tonight. All because of the fact that when it comes time for us to walk away from situations, we end up like either backing ourselves up against a wall or feel like we're continuously running into a brick wall and we just can't figure out what's up, down, back, forth, side to side. And so that is the reason why y'all see this brick wall behind me because by the end of tonight, like I really want y'all to kind of walk away with some gems and just figure out. I want that wall to be gone. I want that wall to be gone, all because of the fact that the reality of it is that that's a wall that we put up on our own. We are more than capable to do so many things, and we just end up stopping ourselves every step of the way with whether it's like with doubt, whether it's with the voices from outsiders, whether it's with the voices from ourselves. Um, it's a lot. So like we can actually take this moment to kind of go into where jazz evolves come from. When you look at the word, and I'm pronouncing it evolves, it's not evolves, it's not evolve, it's none of that, it's evolves. And one of the things that you guys will learn about me is that I love knowledge and I love reading. So the spelling that you see with evolve is actually in the dictionary. It's just in the section that people don't pay attention to, and it's right there over in the parentheses. And so that's the phonetic spelling of the word evolve. And what I'm realizing in life is that, and this is as I get older, because I can tell you this: growing up, you couldn't tell me that I ain't have it all figured out. And I think that's a lot of people. Like we always feel like we have it figured out. And adulthood will humble you. Being grown will humble you. And I'm not talking about 18, 19, 21 being able to drink. I'm not even talking about 25 where you can get that discount on your insurance. I'm talking about 30, 40, 50. I'm talking about that part of life. And that's when I think that we start to make our biggest changes and we start to evolve. Like things start to change for us, and we've had enough experience under our belt to understand that we should have listened to mama them. And some of this stuff we didn't even have to go through. And um, evolving is a constant part of my life. And I think it's a part of a lot of people's life, whether or not they want to call it evolve, whether or not they want to call it change, whatever adaptation, whatever it is that you want to call it, it is a very necessary part of life, right? Oh, y'all throwing out ages. Okay. I'ma still tell y'all to mind y'all business. I'm not telling y'all my age yet. We don't even gotta get into all that. Just know that I'm legal. Okay. Just know that I'm legal. Um, and so we're going into life and we have relationships and we go into, and those relationships are not always romantic. Some of the biggest decisions that you have to make in relationships as you get older is a lot of times starting with family. And a lot of times it's starting with friends. And so we can talk about that romantic part of the relationship, but the person that whenever your wake up call comes, the person that you're with at that time usually isn't where you need to start when you're trying to figure out how you need to fix a relationship. A lot of time it's your mama them, your sister them, your grandma them, your auntie them, that friend that you don't talk to no more. Um, that's big. So I guess I'm gonna start like we'll start there, right? And I love this version of the platform. If you're listening to us by audio, you need to tune in live because that's where all the conversation is happening. Make sure that you show up on Sundays on Facebook Live, all because of the fact that that's where the conversation is happening. That's where we getting this back and forth because we're gonna actually go into because I have some people on here that's a little seasoned, and so we're gonna let y'all drop some gems about uh understanding those family relationships. We haven't even gotten to the romantic part, right? So when you're talking about knowing when to walk away, are we literally walking away from family, or are we walking away from situations that happen with our family? Are we walking away from the fact that you messed up the collard greens on Thanksgiving? Or are we walking away from the fact that you know what, I needed you to tell me that you love me and you didn't? Like where are we starting the walk away process when it comes to friends and family and those that are super close to us? Now, I know that awkward silence is going to be a little bit different for those of you that are listening on the radio, but I can like while they're dropping their comments, like I can say for me a lot of things, and like a this is also super recent too, right? I think that every year that we on this earth and every near new year that comes around, we're always saying it's like new year, new me. And for me, I don't want a new me. Like I want a better version of me. Because if I have a new me every year, that means I'm starting at ground zero. And I don't want to start at ground zero because there's so much wisdom and there's so much experience and there's so many lessons that I've learned that if I have to start with a new me every year, I'm starting a year behind. And so it's like I think that we don't even think about all of these things that we're constantly saying and how much power they end up having over us. So it's like I don't want a new me. I want an evolved version of me. I want a better version of me, right? So I have people saying that we walking away from people, places, and things, anything that doesn't serve me. I hear that a lot, right? I hear that a lot. Now, because we're in the truth room, I don't want y'all to feel like I'm coming at y'all, but I want y'all to kind of what that whole thing that doesn't like things that don't serve me because I love that. But we know that in the English language, a lot of times people hear stuff like that and they feel away, right? And I think that even sometimes people say it and they don't even really understand how deep and monumental that statement actually is because people feel away and say like, dang, like that's a messed up thing to say, or you just gonna throw people away because they don't serve you anymore. One of the things that I've learned in my short time here on earth is that just because you're saying that something doesn't serve you anymore does not mean that you've used and abused the person and you just gonna throw them out like the trash that runs every week. What it means is that you understand that as a part of this process and continuing to move forward in life, if you continue, that's like holding on to your favorite pair of shoes. Let me break it down like this. Like that's like holding on to your favorite pair of shoes. You don't take it personal when you've outgrown a pair of shoes and it's time for you to throw them away. Nobody feel bad about that. Your feet too big for them. You don't play it outside. You got creases in them. They don't serve the purpose anymore. I need for my shoes to be crispy and I need for them to be comfortable. So when they no longer serve me, yes, I'm going to remove them from my life. So I think that if we were to take and stop taking it so personal all the time and really realize, now some people, and that's just me, right? That's just my perspective on it, because it's some nasty people in the world, and they really are out here just using and abusing people. But I think that that statement that Sean made, is walking away from things that don't serve me anymore. It's really like, as long as you're saying it from a healthy and a whole place, then you're in a position to actually get everything that that person was supposed to give to you. And sometimes it ends up like, those people end up coming full circle in our life, which is a conversation for another day, or maybe if we have time for later on today. Um, you know, Sometimes things are supposed to just be left right where they at, right? Um, let's see what Century has to say. Century says, understand that everyone doesn't know that unresolved trauma is not a green light for staying in a place that's uncomfortable. Ooh, that's a whole bunch. There was a lot of words in there, a lot of big words, a lot of strong words that were in there. But it's so true. So I'm gonna just break it down for the people in the back that was like, okay, you lost me at unresolved. Um, what I think that she's saying here is that just because you were hurt and you're used to being treated a certain kind of way does not mean that you have to stay. And for the people that are expecting people to stay, just because you realize that somebody has trauma or has issues in a particular area doesn't mean that you get to exploit or use those so that those people continue to be your stumping ground or your domain. I think that might be it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That might be it. So I think that that's a really good transition to go over into relationships, because I feel like people are a lot quicker to cut off family than they are to cut off friends or even lovers, right? So you'll cut the people that broke bread with you, that birthed you, you'll cut them off because they ain't call you back or because they ain't show up to your baby birthday party. But then you'll allow that man or that woman to continuously exploit your weaknesses, also that they can like be happy, right? So like I think that the comments that have come so far, a lot of times that's with family. But tell me, I'm curious, how many relationships have, and I'm talking about we talking about romantic now, right? We talking about romantic now. How many relationships have you seen, either personally or with friends or with family, that you know for a fact they should have walked away? You know for a fact that you should have walked away. You know for a fact, because I know y'all gonna say it couldn't be me. No, not today. Couldn't be me. I'm curious. Too many to count. Yeah, I'm sitting here and it's like, for me, I've had official relationships. I can count them, right? I don't had plenty of situations, and I think that a lot of times in a lot of those, we end up staying a lot longer than we need to. Um, we stay a lot longer than we need to, and I think that a lot of times what ends up happening is we stay in those places because of this savior complex, or this hope thing, right? Like I think that both men and women we all have hope. That is what keeps humans going. That is what keeps the world going round. And I was just having a conversation the other day, and I was just talking about how I lived by this mantra for a very long time for a particular person in my life, that as long as they were above ground, like they had another chance, right? And even though that statement is true, it's a very true statement. But too many people take another chance for granted, right? And they don't take and seize the day to be able to say, you know what, like I'm gonna do right by you today and tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And it's almost like that is our way of just slapping God in the face and saying, well, I know that you're gonna give me another chance tomorrow. All right, Miss Kelly. All right. All right. Potential. Miss Kelly just dropped something out there and it was just like, and I don't know. Like y'all make me. I'm about to like pull out the dictionary because hope and potential, are they the same thing? Like, are they the same thing? Now I could go to like my Southern Baptist and it's like the evidence, hope is the thing. It's that's all a part of faith, but the potential. How many people? How many people not stayed in a situation because of potential? What you saw in a person that obviously they didn't see in themselves. Hindsight is always 2020, but when you're in situations, there isn't an exact science. Come on, somebody. Come on. Like a very wise person, I'm just saying that my mama, she told me that you can't know that you made the wrong decision until you make it. Now, that's a whole bunch to say without saying a lot, but it's the truth. So I guess that takes us into the space of like, are we taking calculated risks or we just out here living free? Because if that's the chance, like if that's the case, we really could walk around and just say, well, I'm gonna just take every chance that there is, right? Um, and so for those of you who dropped it, for those of you that have dropped like the reason why you stayed and all of that kind of stuff, like I'm really curious because the topic for tonight is like when to walk away. I want to know at what point, whether it was with family or with a relationship, because we're going into business next, right? In jobs, but with family and in relationships, at what point did you know? Okay, today is the day, or next week, or in 2 months, I'm walking away. Like, I really want to know at what point did you get to the place where it's like, yeah, we walking away. This the end of this. I've had enough. I'm curious because like, and while y'all are like typing y'all comments, because it's gonna come up in a second. Um, we in the truth room. I gotta keep saying this so y'all don't judge me. Don't come back and try and put my business and make me a status and talk about me. But I don't care if you do. Because my daddy say if it's the truth, why get mad? And if it ain't the truth, why get mad? Right? Um, but for me, it's a process. And I know that for definitely in my past, and sometimes even in my present, a lot of times the things that kept me there were the things that I didn't realize were even keeping me there. So we have all of these words and we have all of these things that say, oh, well, this is the reason why. But in those situations, I, and I'm going to say this now, and I don't know if any of my exes go see this, but some of the time I was the problem. I was the problem. I was the problem because, and a lot of times it was unintentionally, and sometimes it was tit for tat. Sometimes it was tit for tat, but a lot of times it was unintentional. And I studied psychology when I was in college, and so it's a lot of stuff that I have here at the top of my head of just knowledge and just knowing stuff, right? But it's a lot of stuff that's deep down inside that was swept up under that I didn't even realize that I was operating from that space or even why I was operating from that space. Right. And what I realize now, like Cynthia said, like in retrospect, 2020, if I had chosen me sooner, I would not have stayed as long as I did in a lot of places. If I did not protect the version of me that was whole, pure, that felt worthy, I would have walked away. And I think that we go through life for so long that we don't even realize the moment that we stop feeling worthy. And so let's go ahead and address some of the comments that's in here, right? So it's like I stayed bad because I felt bad for him. And I felt like, how could I say I love him if I want to leave him and not help? And I made myself feel bad for wanting to leave. All right. Come on now. Come on. I said so you talking for a couple people, Miss Shine. Miss Kelly says, I think in my situation, he made me believe his potential could be after 3 years. Day one was the same day as 1095, and every promise and future were never fulfilled. And I became someone I didn't like. And also by believing in his dreams, I lost everything, finances in my house and my car. Okay. All right. I got it. That's a that's a lot. When it comes to family, it's harder for me. Okay. Okay. Y'all dropping some stuff. Let's see. When it comes to family, it's harder for me than friends or lovers. Okay. And that's understandable. That's understandable. So I think that a really common theme that's here, and I love all of this dialogue back and forth, and we definitely have to get some fellas in here in the future because I feel like we all singing the same song, and that's okay because everybody's truth is their truth. And in each one of these situations, even though it seems like we have commonalities, I guarantee you that every one of these situations were not the same. I think the conclusions that we came to at the end were pretty much the same, but they showed themselves differently. And I think that kind of goes back to, I'm pretty sure all of us has heard, like, there's nothing new under the sun. And it's like the devil will come dressed up in a dress if he needs to. He'll come dressed up in some slacks. He'll come in a pinto. He'll come in a Benz. Like, it'll come any way that it needs to come in order um to be distracted. So I guess, like, all of these are, I think, times where we realized that we needed to walk away. But how many people can remember the day that they made up in their mind and they knew, like, did you plan your escape? It almost is like, Lord have mercy, I gotta plan my escape from the person that has me trapped. Like, but did you plan your escape or did you just up and walk away? Because for me, it's more so, I think that when I was younger and I didn't have kids that depended on me, I definitely was just like, I'm out. Like, and I'm one of those people, I have a whole funeral in my head. Like, I have a whole funeral in my head, and you existed when? At what point? And I recently just did something that was really interesting, and you guys can look into it. It's called RTT, and it's called rapid transitional therapy, or whatever the case may be. And I ain't gonna put y'all all in my business, but I'm gonna tell you that it helped me to realize um, some things that I had blocked off in moments. And that's kind of like the reason why I'm asking y'all, like, what was that moment like? Can you think and remember what that moment like, where it's like, okay, I'm walking away? Because in that session, what ended up happening was I went to a few different moments in my life, and I understood where certain emotions that I had been operating in with, like, friends, family, and even professionally, um a lot of areas where I was operating because of one particular moment in my life that changed the trajectory of my life. and put me in a totally different place. Now, all things come full circle because I'm here on this Facebook Live and y'all listening to me on Spotify and you're listening to me on Google and you're listening to me, on Apple right now. So all things come full circle when you walk away from anything. But those moments to walk away are super, super hard, right? So I think that we like it's almost like cliche to continue to talk about relationships with family and romances because it's somebody that's listening to this podcast that needs to figure out what they're gonna do about their job, or it's somebody that's figuring out what they need to do about their business. Is somebody that needs to figure out what they're gonna do about some investments, right? And it's super hard to walk away from anything that you have invested in. So in relationships, a lot of times it's time and money. Um, Shoot, at work it's time and money. Um, you know, all of these things that have something in common is that it's like we are investing time and money. And a lot of times people are like time is something that you can't get back, but as long as you keep living, you get more of it. And the same thing with money. Money you can lose. But one thing about it, like my god brother, he used to call me all the time. He was like, Jazz, I'm gonna tell you, you the bounce back queen. Cause I ain't never like every time you hit like something happened, you always bounce back. And I bounce back better every time. Like it's never a situation where it's like, oh, like I bounce back and I'm just like right here. It's like I bounce back and it's like, okay, I see you. I see you. I see what you did there. And so it's for me, I remember when I made the decision to become an entrepreneur and, the things that kind of pushed me towards that. And I've always been super good as far as like working somebody else's business. And so you look at those character traits and you're like, well, and you get to a point in your time, a lot of your point in time in your life, a lot of times where you're like, I don't want to do this for nobody, right? And for me, I remember the first time I was with the company. I'm not gonna say the company's name, but the first time I was with a company, our client saw my worth. They wanted to pay me for my worth, and the company held on to the bag. And because I was close with some people within the company that was our client, I found out that they had my bag. And during that time, I only had two kids. And I was tired of doing this title's work for this title's money. And the moment that they told me no, they basically looked me dead in my face and told me, no, we ain't got no money to give you. When I know that the check been cut, that was the moment where I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. And I walked away. I walked away. And um I always wanted to be a mama and I always wanted to be there full time for my kids. And I made that choice. Now, if I could do it a little bit differently this time, yes, because I learned a hard lesson about walking away too soon. Walking away too soon because it got a little hard. But I was able to go back and get another job. And I got money, and it's like I ended up getting a job where I only had to do what I was being paid to do. All right. And but then it ended up coming full circle because things happened in my life and I made a choice because I had to walk away. And it's just so crazy how all of these things end up playing a part in each other, right? So you got family, you got romance, you got your job. And a lot of times, like we end up going through life and they're all hitting us at the same time. And we have to make a decision about all of them. And then we end up trying to figure out, well, I'm not happy at work, and the not happy at work is translating into me not being happy at home. And I'm not happy at home, And now that's translating into me not being happy at work. And all of these things are super like interchangeable. And we don't ever really step back to say, like, okay, what do I need to let go? And a lot of times we talk about walking away from situations, but sometimes it's just a matter of walking away from a mindset, right? So if you're not happy at work because you're not happy at home, what is it that you need to change at home in order for you to be gratified at work? Who do you need to talk to in order to make this happy? Do you need to talk to yourself? Because I heard geniuses talk to themselves. So if you talk to yourself already, you're ahead of the curve. Or do you need to talk to that person that's laying next to you? Or do you need to talk to that person that's giving you your monthly reviews? Let's see what y'all saying down here. Struggling right now, trying to find my next career path after 21 years in the medical field. I am burnt out. Okay, being burnt out, that's a big one. Um, are you walking away or are you walking towards? Ooh, ooh. Come on, y'all just put y'all phone down for a half a second and we're gonna snap that one. We're gonna put that one up on the screen because it's all about perspective, right? So if you are this is a really great point because when you're walking away from something, a lot of times we look at what we're walking away from as such a negative thing. And that is why we don't want to leave. But oh, if you could see what's on the other side, you probably will run. You'll probably run all because of the fact that it gets better later. Now I'm gonna tell you this because I've ran from some things only to have to get back down and come right back to it because what ended up happening, that company I was just telling y'all about, some stuff happened in my life that ended up sending me right back, but I left the right way. So I think it's really important that when we're deciding about walking away and or running away, whichever case, you need to make sure that you're doing it the right way because you never know ultimately what God has for you and how you might have to spin the block. So when you're leaving, leave right if you can, because sometimes people just got to get cussed out. I ain't gonna hold you. Like sometimes people just got to get cussed out, but at the same time, you leave the right way because I left in a way to where not only did I go back, but before I went back, they were calling for me to come back. And when I came back, I did not know that me coming back is what was going to end me up in Detroit, right? And I went back in 2017, right? So when we start talking about 2020, we start talking about not being able to see what's on the other side. Um, I did not know the moment that I came back full circle to that same place that I walked away from, that 5 years later, is that the right math? 5 years later, I was going to end up in Detroit, Michigan. And that's a story for another day. Y'all will figure out what all that means later on. That ain't none of y'all business right now. But it ended up placing me here. So I think that a really big takeaway, because like I'm not gonna hold y'all more than an hour tonight, so we're gonna start wrapping stuff up soon. But I think that a really big thing that we need to realize is that it's almost like those breadcrumbs that get left, right? You leave breadcrumbs so that you can get back home. However, me personally, in my own life, I do nothing without fasting and praying. Right? That's mine. So I don't know what anybody else's is. I don't know if it's meditation. I don't know how you get to where you get to. But for me, it's taking a step back and fasting and praying and making sure that God gives me yes or no, right? Because it's so even right now, there's some things that are happening in my life, and people will try to tell you to walk away before it is time for you to walk away. So I think a big part of knowing when to walk away in friendships, in relationships, and in business is knowing that you have made that decision. You and your higher power have made that decision and that decision alone. Because a lot of times we will take the advice of people who ain't walked away. And I think that a lot of times we just it's like I wouldn't put up with that. I wouldn't do that. I would and you take advice from those type of people. The type of people, because I'm not saying that you shouldn't take advice from people because people live, and I feel like a lot of times like our prayers and our requests get answered through people, through nature, through a book that you should have been picked up and read. All of those things are ways that we end up getting the answers to the things that we want to know. So I think that walking away definitely comes when you get to a place within yourself to where you are prepared for whatever is to come next. Even if you don't know what next is. If you ain't got no peace about that thing, don't move. This is from Jazz. This is from like I don't know if it's from God's desk because I don't think he got a desk, but this is if you are not at peace about that move, don't move. Because even in the moments where you change your mind, if you had peace about a decision, then you can move. If you still rumbling and tumbling and tussling, I'm not talking because I don't want to negate what was said earlier about those false voices in our head that make us feel like we should those false voices in our head that make us feel like we should have to stay, and those false voices that come from self-doubt and guilt and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like you really really know what you know, and you're like, okay, I'm at peace with this decision, and you know that that decision wasn't poisoned by anybody. So if there was anything that I would want y'all to take away from tonight, and take away from this podcast is knowing when to walk away is different for everybody. And when the next time somebody gets ready to come to you and say, "What should I do?" if you cannot give them advice either from wisdom or from empathy, which I think plays a really big part in wisdom, then you don't need to say nothing. And if you are trying to figure out whether or not you should walk away, you need to go within yourself, hopefully a healed version of yourself, to figure out how it is that you need to move in order to move forward. Because a lot of times, life happens in seasons and things will keep coming to you until you get it right. Things will keep coming to you until you get it right. So until you tell that thing that keep that Negro that keep coming or that girl that keep coming, until you tell her no, she gonna keep coming. He gonna keep coming. When until you figure out whether or not that job is the job that you need to walk away, or you need to not cuss out your supervisor, or you need to make sure that you actually doing what your job description say, then you need to make sure that you crossed all your I's, crossed all your T's, and dotted all your I's before you walk away. Because the biggest thing, the worst thing than not walking away is regret. So make your choice. Know what you know, what you know. And if you don't know what you know, then just know that you're okay with what's to come. All right. So I enjoyed y'all. I appreciate all the feedback. I really, really do. I love all the engagement. And thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to season 2, episode 1 of the Truth Room, knowing when to walk away. Please follow all social media, the Truth Room on Instagram, the Truth Room podcast on Facebook, and Brave Ambition Radio Network on YouTube, and tune in to us for future live streams and play it back. Send it to somebody because we're on Spotify, we are on Apple, and I would love for you to be able to tune in and hear what we have to say. Looking forward to you guys coming back and seeing us for our next show, and I'm looking forward to our future guests. And we're out, y'all.